Can you learn German by using Soviet times books? Today we finally got to the Karl Veken book Lustige Streiche from 1974. I know it's been promised like 2 months ago, but I was drowning in studying and knew that it will not be a good video without reading it properly. So I reread everything in a whole completely free day and got my thoughts together. Now let's answer our question. Can you learn German by using Soviet times books? I strongly advise against doing that. What is the reason, you might ask? Well, there are two main factors. First one is based solely on how it uses an old variation of language that might not help you much with how people speak as of today. So, you will not learn many modern phrases, easy as that. Don't get me wrong, you can understand the book perfectly fine, just don't study with it. Second is related, but with a different reasoning. Here's the easiest example for you. This is the same word, but one is modern and other is old. As you can see, the writing changed and it is on the official level. I've consulted with my German professor and this is what she told me. You will encounter old variations of words that are not being used today or have changed. It might mess up your studying and confuse you. And yeah, is there really a need to learn by old literature when you have a lot of new? Some people I've met IRL in Goethe Institute told me they prefer reading favorite books like Harry Potter just in German, and that works for them. And my own friend has learned better English by reading fanfiction. Language learning is always more about engagement and dedication rather than type of content that you consume. You just have to find what works best for you. My thoughts on the book itself, it gave me strong vibes of an old Russian literature that I have consumed as a child, like this one. Comedic, friendly, childlike, educational, with morals, all the best parts of good children's book recipe. But of course, it also had some questionable, old fashioned things that are considered bad taste in modern day. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are an overweight kid, maybe a bit neglected, and your parents give you candy just to not deal with you. You don't really have friends, your classmates treat you badly, and you often catch disgusted looks. How does that make you feel? My friend, let me tell you, in this book, you are the villain. Yes, I'm for real. Many old books have done that. Give you an example to teach you not to be like that one bad apple. Well, for some reason, being lazy and unsanitary was always blamed on fat people. Something like, look at this fatty, so lazy, so smelly. We are not going to dig deep into the portrayal of overweight people in society. I'm not that type of channel. I'll just say, yes, being overweight is bad for your health, and if you can, you might want to try to fix that. But nobody should be called slurs because of weight. Okay? But let's get back to the positives of this book. There are some great things that I have not seen in modern books like ever. It is a fun book converted into educational material. It has translations for whole phrases under footnotes on every single page. So, if you don't understand much, you can still get the general idea of what's going on and learn a few words and phrases to better understand the language. And it's not all. 10 pages of the book are a vocabulary for many words used in the book. Like, you can just open it and start learning words. And yes, they come with genders, of course. If I had children's books like this in my own childhood, I would learn a lot, and a lot faster than I actually did in school. I think bilingual books must be a standard for children, not just an option that you have to seek in specialized shops. Being monolingual might work out in big countries like America, China, etc. But the more languages you know, the more options and opportunities you have in life, the bigger perspective on other people is. And now that I've gotten successfully distracted, let's get back to the main plot of the book. And of course, we will take a look at the cool AF illustrations from the times when AI was not able to steal human art. Main character is Paul, and he has a group of regular friends, Fritz and Anne-Marie. Let's start with Anne-Marie since she's got the least lines. Anne-Marie is best described as calm, good girl, just a little bit mischievous. Fritz, on the other hand, is much more adventurous and slippy, but his main theme in the book is actually being loyal. Paul, as a main character, is shown best because we follow him, clearly. But my opinion of him became biased very fast, so I will refrain from deep analysis. Let's say that Paul is very needy, becomes attached very fast. His moral greed leads him to all sorts of situations. And here into the game steps Hans. I have no idea if author ever thought of this or not, but they are two sides of one coin. If Paul is greedy for feelings, for animal friends, then Hans is greedy for pleasure, for food, something materialistic. Does it make sense? Well, it does for me. And now a very interesting question. Which character I like the most? The answer is Hans. Why? Because after the amount of cruelty that was put into describing him badly again and again, I've started to feel bad for him. Don't get me wrong, his character is deeply flawed. He is very opportunistic and makes many mistakes. But come on, the amount of shit this kid gets is crazy. He's not even evil, just flawed. And maybe, just maybe, that was the intention from the beginning. Put someone down to show how that person can rehabilitate themselves, how that person oftentimes helps others, how someone can morally grow and prove bad attitude wrong. Now, I will tell you three main plot lines of the book very fast, and we will get back to, yes, to Hans. So, the biggest part of the book belongs to Mieze, the kitty. It's a story that targets children to thrust into the system. Let me explain. You behave, you get good grades, you make grown up decisions, and then you're rewarded. Yay! In this case, Paul, the main character, wants to adopt a cat. But his father dislikes cats, and so the boy is trying to get good grades, believing that his father will allow to adopt this cat if Paul is a good boy. Cute. Another story is about helping each other out. So Paul has lost his lottery ticket and can't collect the big prize. Sad. But his friends are with him and use their prizes to make announcements about lost ticket. Friendship is magic, guys. Not gonna tell you how it ends, but yeah, he gets the ticket. And the third story is very interesting one. So Paul and Fritz want to buy a talking bird from Hans, but they have no money. What to do? Oh, there's this one magical sofa where you can collect money and spend it. So boys buy ice creams, pets, and have their fun. But what's the catch? Oh, Paul is a naughty, naughty boy. He knew that those money fell into the sofa from his father's pockets, and he used them. Well, such are children. So the main focus of this story is them trying to rehabilitate themselves, sell the animals, and collect money so that struggling parents can afford a new radio. And it all comes together in the end. You'll love to see it. Now, let's look at all the crap that Hans got along the way. So, guys, this is the file that I wrote basically myself, I must say. It contains the original text of the book that was in my possession, and also the English translations, partially done by me, partially done by yours through and only Google Translate, because some things were not clear to me at all. So So I should mention, here's the red. It means those old words that I noticed while reading. Now, of course, here's not all of them, but the easiest one that I was able to catch. And yellow text is something either very controversial or the bashing of Hans. So this one, behind us, however, came Hanschen Habermann. He's always the last one. He's always eating something, a pear, an apple, a piece of cake, and he's always chewing. He's also the fattest one in our class. You see where I'm going with this one? Yes? No? Well, you think that's like one tad, a little bit, something, no way in hell. Here's another one. You're crazy, said Hans, biting into a fat, juicy pear. We made fun of him and continued looking for the birds. Guys, is this okay? Okay, next one. Hans laughed. Do you think animals don't understand us? Asked Anne Marie. A cat like that is much smarter than you. How many times have we told you not to eat during class, but you don't understand? Okay, another one. Hans smiled contentedly. I pushed him. He screamed. This is already violence. Oh, this one? Actually, I was laughing so hard that I really had to show you. So, unter unserem Fenster macht das Biest seine Nachtmusik. Oh my god. That beast is playing its night music under our window. This phrase is straight out of, I don't know, dark comedy. It's a description about cat meowing. Another thing that I did not understand about this book was this part. Ich bekomme im Rechnen eine 2. So like something becoming a second in scoring, like in math, but I don't know the when I like I'm reading it, but I thought it's the grade itself, like 2, and here's 3, but it didn't make much sense. So I was translated it myself like this, but I'm not sure it's a correct version. Either the grading system was very different at that time, and I just don't know, but I'm unsure, or it's like the second in the whole class. I don't know, guys. If someone is familiar with this, please explain. Okay, there was a lot of calms, and then we hit this part, which honestly is so dark and so truthful that I really had to take a look on this one. Uncle Joachim once told us about his teacher. He was an unusual teacher. He was always mean and often beat the entire class during a single lesson. He said, I'm raising good soldiers for our emperor. These soldiers must keep quiet when they're beaten. The boys didn't like the beating teacher and often played nasty pranks on him. Oh my god! This is a children's book and it got so dark so fast. Okay, now we're getting back to Hans. Miss Nicholas brought books and put cookies in front of us. Hans never took his eyes off the cookies. Miss Nicholas had barely left when he put a biscuit in his mouth and one in each hand. So again with the eating slander, again with this thing. Put the cookies down right now, I shouted angrily. You wanted to play that stupid prank and now you want to eat your fill here? We took the cookies away from him. She gave us the cookies, didn't she? Hans wanted to take another cookie. Hands off, shouted Fritz. Well, even when the food was given, they're still scolding him. Hans wanted to say something, but Fritz gave him a poke on the ribs. Hans was dissatisfied. We didn't listen to him at all, and he had to leave. He'll be back soon, if only for the cookies. We were washing the cups when one fell from Hans' hand onto the floor. Broken! Of course it's Hans. Guys, okay, here comes the green color. It was something positive. That something positive has finally happened. So, Hans came back with the empty bucket and immediately grabbed a rag and helped with the work. So, as you can see, he was never the bad kid. He was just outed for overeating and being a little bit overweight. That's the most sad part about this book. Here's another good thing. Hans found a pair of shoes and we polished them until they were sparkling clean. Is this a bad kid? No. And here's that one moment when I felt really, really, really interesting. So the teacher was telling kids that she's making a journal about their adventures in school and everything interesting. And then there's the question, are we in it too? Yes. Me too? Asked Hans. You too. So the teacher was accepting everyone. She was a really good teacher. Oh, and yeah, again with the slander. Hans Haberman said sadly, "Oh, there's so much cake. Anna Marie and Fritz were my real friends, but Hans eats a lot. Hans promised to eat very little. But the best part for us was the Death Riders in the globe. That's very dangerous," said Hans. He ate chocolate and gave us a piece too. So he's not bad. He's even sharing that food. Why are you so mean to him? And yes, of course, not a single sentence without mentioning him loving the food. Oh, good parts. Then Anna Marie said, "We still have time, so let's write an announcement." We sat down and wrote. Hans wrote with his new pencil. Fritz, Anna Marie, and Hans went out into the streets, and I stayed home. So, this is the episode when the boy could not find his lottery ticket and everyone helped him, including Hans. Oh, a good part. You never know where you stand with Hans Haberman. He's a good friend. They are finally acknowledging him after all this time. And yeah, again with the slander. What do you need that big bucket for? For fish? "Salted herring is available at the store," a boy shouted. "You need the fish to eat." We laughed, but Hans brought 3 fishes, and this part was about him buying the pet fish for an aquarium. And they just out of nowhere made a joke about him wanting to eat them. So that's the end. Guys, was I unfair? Was I unjust in saying that fat shaming is all over the place? Or do you agree with me? Is this the normal level or is this too much? For a boy, you consider your friend when he's behaving good. Let me know. You might think that that's it, but there's more to this book to discuss, you guys. I want to concentrate your attention on the one character that is kind, appreciated, receives from children gratitude, respect, and kindness. Their teacher. You probably already know how education today struggles a lot, not just by quality, but we have huge problems with young teachers leaving because of psychological abuse, disrespect, and overworking accompanied with very low pay. And I kid you not, this problem exists in USA, in Russia, and even in Latvia all the same. I watch a lot of young teachers' blogs, and they all say the same things. Kids are uncontrollable, entitled, have zero attention span. And yet here I am, reading a story about angelic children with great attitude to their teacher. What changed? I know this story is real because my ancestors told me it was back in the old days, the same thing. What changed, guys? Why are we so lacking? Now, another important part of this video is about Karl Veken himself. Karl Veken was a resistance fighter against National Socialism. He drew his literary material from his experiences in the resistance struggle against the Nazis, his experiences in prison, and his immigration to Prague and France. And here I should definitely mention that he resisted real Nazis, not the silly insult that Twitter and Reddit users write nonchalantly without having a single drop of understanding what it means. I'm very sorry for getting mad or even insulting you personally if you ever did that, but you must understand that words have meaning and this one is heavy. Let's get back to Karl. Karl Veken was educated at a teacher training college run by Jesuits. In the political conflicts of the Weimar Republic, he found his way to the workers' movement. In 1929, he joined the KPD and a group of oppositional teachers. He also worked as a journalist for the KPD. In 34th years, he took part in the resistance against National Socialism. In 1934, he was arrested and sentenced to prison for high treason. After his release in the 36th year, he immigrated to Czechoslovakia and later to Paris. In 1940s, he was ordered by the party to return to Germany to work illegally. There, he soon fell into the hands of the Gestapo. From the 1944 until the end of the war, he was a prisoner in the concentration camp. Immediately after the liberation from National Socialism, Veken worked as a teacher and school principal in Berlin. Working with young people was his life's work. He wrote the song "We're Moving Forward Over Rubble and Shards" to inspire young people to rebuild after destructions of war. However, as much as he enjoyed being a teacher, he never had time to write. His passion outside of school. So he decided to become a freelance writer. In 1969, Karl Veken was awarded the Bronze Order of Merit for the Fatherland. When I was reading this for the first time, I honestly have started crying, since I'm an emotional mess, yeah? There's not much left for me to say about this book except its origin, so let's do that very fast. As I have mentioned already in my post before, publishing house Просвещение, which published this book, is still functioning as of today. I will not say anything else because the deeper we go, the more it touches on controversial political topics, and we have already touched on them far too much for my mental stability. This is the introduction to readers that tells you a little about Karl Veken and the characters. But at the end, it also mentions that the original book was bettered, or should I say upgraded, by teachers from one of the Moscow schools, specifically for German learning purposes. So I guess all the translations and vocabulary is made by those unnamed teachers. And this page is telling you that this book is supposed to teach children respect to people, love for nature, and love for animals. And after reading it myself, I can confirm 100%. This is the information about people who worked on a book, as well as information about how they made 100,000 copies. And one of those copies still exists and belongs to yours truly, Lycoris. This book was a very big bite to take for me, maybe too big to chew. I'm not the best person to represent very serious or controversial topics like this at all. After I'm done with them, I have to always collect myself from shattered pieces and put on the duct tape. Anyways, I still have another one book left. But since this one was made for 6th grade and I'm clearly not yet there, I'm too stupid in German for 6th grade. Yeah, it's basically non-existent for this level. I think I will leave the second book for the next year. It would be a good test for me in the future for how much I was able to grow. Now, everything was already said and done. Guys, sometimes I'm going a bit too far with the topics I'm choosing to research. So please, if that's the case, let me know. And yes, don't let me speedrun my cancellation on Twitter, okay? I am wrapping up this video. Hope that this one has sparked your curiosity.